Hi there, it's Becca with Let's Travel. This video is all about Marriott's Fairway Villas in Galloway, New Jersey. In this video, I'll give you a 2-bedroom room tour, go over the amenities and pools, the activities options, I'll give you a grounds tour, and then let you know what our overall impression was of the resort. Galloway is just 15 minutes from Atlantic City, so if you're planning on coming here, you have the option to fly into Atlantic City. However, flights are either spendy or there's a layover. Like for us, there was a layover. So we actually decided to fly into Newark, which is about an hour and a half drive, or Philadelphia would be another great option, which is a little over an hour drive. Okay, first up we have the room tour. This is of the 2-bedroom villa, which actually all of the villas on property are 2 bedrooms. We were in the Desert Springs building, which is actually what we had requested. We had requested a room that was close to the pools, something with a golf course view, and then a top floor. And Marriott actually gave us all 3 of our requests, which is something that doesn't always happen. This building actually ended up being the best building we could have asked for because it was close to everything that we had used most of the week. The buildings are open. However, when you get out of the elevator, that door going down the hallway is where you would need to use your room key. We were on the top floor, all the way at the end of the hall in room 1439. The layout of these is a little bit more like long and narrow. So when you walk in, there's the kitchen and the dining room table. Then you have the living room in front of you and the bedrooms on each side. One of the bedrooms has the pull-out sofa and the queen bed, and then attaches to a bathroom that is shared with the main living area. And then the other bedroom is the king bed with its own master bath. This master bath had a bench area with a mirror right above it, which I actually think was probably where the whirlpool used to be before it had been remodeled. I actually love this. We ended up setting our suitcase on it, which was great. And then in the actual bathroom, there's the shower and the toilet. Outside of the bathroom, there was a nice vanity area. It did have the hair dryer, of course. And then the door going into the bathroom actually had a hook on both sides, which I also loved. In the closet, there's the ironing board and the iron, a lot of hangers, and then the safe and the luggage rack. We had some issues with our iron, and personally, I would love if Marriott just started putting steamers in the room instead of irons, but they are there if you need them. The rest of this room is pretty standard. There's the clock and the lamps on each of the nightstands, and then the plug-ins for devices as well, and a TV. And then this room does look out right into the balcony. Now onto the second bedroom. Like I had said before, there's that pull-out couch there. There's a TV in this bedroom as well, the standard nightstands, and then I think it was a queen bed. Maybe it was a king bed. I'm not entirely sure. We used that room for my daughter, so we never actually slept in that bed. But it was a nice room, very spacious with just the one sofa and one bed. And then we used those 2 little tables there for luggage, which was very nice. This bathroom is the standard second bathroom. It has the vanity, the toilet, and then the shower/tub. It does have this clothesline hanger, which is great for wet swimsuits. And then this shower does have the tub at the bottom. So if you're a person who likes to take baths on vacation, this one is for you. The laundry closet was right to our right when we walked in. It did have a washer and a dryer, a couple of detergents that we're able to use, and then the trash can and recycling can were also in here. The only complaint we had about this room was that this door would slam, and it would slam really hard. So just be aware of that. I don't know if that's standard for all the rooms, but it was for our room. Dining area was great. This table could fit 8 people, so it was very large. And then it was great for us because we had some little kids, and that bench seating area is great for that. And then the porch is in the corner of the unit. It has a small table with 4 different chairs, and then Our porch did look out and we could see the golf course. It was through the trees, so really you can't see much, but it's still technically, I suppose, is a golf course view. It was screened in, which is great for keeping bugs out, and we love that. We do have these carts in the lobbies of each of the buildings, which are great for groceries if you're getting groceries, and then the luggage carts as well. Our one other complaint about the building was that the doors leading into the building didn't have any automatic openers. So even on the handicap side where there's the ramp, you would still have to have someone open the door for you, which is not great, obviously, for anyone with limited mobility or in a wheelchair, but it's also not great for strollers or for anyone who's trying to bring their luggage in. So that was one other item that was a little inconvenient as far as getting into the building. Okay, next on the agenda is amenities and pools. Now, when you walk into the main lobby area, it was very nice area, very open. On one side of the lobby, you can walk down the hallway and there is a game room. We actually didn't get a ton of use out of this just because my kids aren't really at gaming ages, but this would be really fun if you had a little bit older kids. And then they do have the coin machine where you can get quarters, and that's what you would use to play those games. And then on the other side of the lobby, there was the owner's lounge and the activities center. The owner's lounge had a few chairs in here. I think when there are any owner's lounge activities, this is where they were held. And then right off the owner's lounge was the activities room. As far as an activities room goes, this is a little bit smaller than others I've seen. It basically just had a pool table, some table and chairs, but then you could get out to this main area from the activities room. And then right outside the lobby doors is going to be the main pool area. This has the splash pad. It has the main pool. There's quite a bit of seating, like couch seating around right after you walk out. They had some live music in this area, a giant chessboard, the giant Connect 4, and then it leads out to the splash pad. My daughter, who is 2, had so much fun at the splash pad. The splash pad water is not heated though, so it does get a little chilly. However, this main pool area is heated and it does have the 0 entry, so it was super easy for little kids. There's a ton of seating throughout this main pool area. One of our favorite features of this pool area was these giant canopies. Instead of having like individual tent shades or umbrella shades, they have these giant ones that go over a majority of the chairs, which is really nice. There's still quite a bit of seating in the sun, but if you do want shade or you have little ones, these were really nice to have. They do have a ton of table and chairs in this area as well, because Mulligan's, which is the only restaurant on site, is located right here, right off of the main pool area. The inside of Mulligan's is nothing. There is nothing. It's a walk-up counter. So all of the seating is outdoors. We had a quesadilla and we also had some chicken tenders, and both were pretty much what I would expect from a Marriott Properties on-site restaurant. And right next to the main pool, there is this massive hot tub. So right off of this main pool area, there's this mining play area, which I'll get more into later. And then they do have cornhole right here. It's right next to the indoor pool building and the adult pool building. Okay, so walking into the building that the indoor pool is in, you can come in and there is the women's and men's locker rooms. Right to your left, there's the fitness center. This is just very basic fitness center. I didn't want to walk in here in case people were working out, but they have the cardio area and then the weightlifting area. And then to the right is that indoor pool. So it's very steamy in here, nice and toasty. The water's obviously warm. There's that main pool, and then there is a hot tub in here as well. And then as you walked down this hallway, there are some outdoor seating areas next to that adult pool. And then this building honestly was kind of weird. I don't really know what this building was meant for, but it does have the indoor pool and then the fitness center. The rest of the building though is kind of deserted. I believe it used to be the spa that was on site, but I'm not entirely sure. You can see the outdoor pool there. And then on this side, there's like an empty kitchen bar area. And then the rest of the building, again, like I said, was empty. So it's basically just there for the indoor pool and then the fitness center. And then here is that outdoor pool. This was the adults only pool. And it does have really nice seating around it. It's a very interesting pool. It's kind of neat. It has like multiple layers, and then it does have that hot tub. So it's a beautiful adults only pool. It's honestly one of the prettier adults only pools I've seen at Marriott Vacation Clubs. I was very impressed by it. This park ended up being our most used amenity, probably. Our daughter, who is 2, loved playing here. We spent a lot of time here. It was great because it's good for both young and older kids. As I've had kids, I've started to really appreciate that Marriott does prioritize having a playground on property. I know they've been added at some properties, and then this one obviously had one. So I just do appreciate that because it's a great thing to have right on property. It's a good walk around the resort to get there. And then obviously it's great for kids to play at and get some energy out. The Seaview Golf Club does have their driving range and practice area basically on the Marriott property. One of the perks of staying here is that you do get discounted rates to the golf course. As you can see, here are the rates for the 2026 season, and then on the right-hand side, it's that busy season rates, so May through September. Marriott also gives you some information about local golf courses that offer senior discounts. Next up, we have activities. Activities always really range at Marriott Vacation Clubs, and I think it depends on the staff. It depends on how big the resort is and how many people they have to cater to. Obviously, at this one being a smaller resort, there weren't quite as many activities available, but we did still have a lot of fun at them. Here's a picture of the activity schedule if you wanted to pause the video and look at it. I really appreciate that they have live music. They had live music Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, which is just so nice. Sitting by the pool, having some live music is so great. For my daughter, they had bubbles and chalk, which was really fun. You can see here they basically set up next to the splash pad and just had bubbles going. You could play with the bubbles, and then they had chalk as well. My daughter liked tidying up, so she basically put all the chalk back in the bucket for them, which made their jobs a little easier, I guess. But this was a fun activity that our 2-year-old really liked. Over here in the back corner by Mulligan's is where they would set up for a lot of these activities. They had Name That Tune there a couple of days, which we participated in. And we always love Name That Tune because I feel like we're kind of good at it, which is fun. It's fun to do something that you're good at. We did win 3rd place on one of the days. And then they also had live music set up back there as well. And then here's that mining activity I was talking about earlier. It's basically gemstone and fossil panning. So what you can do is you can buy the bags in the store that's right off of the lobby, and then your kids can come out here and do that. We didn't do it just because my daughter's a little too young to do that. But here is the price list for those if you want to pause the video, and then those are the different bags that you can purchase. So the next activity that we did was the s'mores. They have these beautiful fire pit areas right out front of the main building. And basically they just set up, they have all of the s'mores ingredients for you to take and then some sticks you can use. If you do want more than one s'more per person, you can pay, I think it was just $2 per extra s'more. Otherwise, they have s'more stuff that you can buy in the shop that's right off the lobby as well. But my daughter really liked doing this. This is a fun little snack or treat for our family. And so we enjoyed this activity a lot. And last up, we have the grounds tour. I will say the one perk of a little bit smaller resort is that everything is very walkable and very manageable. They did have good paths throughout the resort that you could get to everything pretty easily. And again, since there are only 6 buildings here, that main building is pretty centrally located. So for most, it wouldn't be too far of a walk. As you come into the resort, unlike some other Marriott Vacation Club properties I've been to, there's no check-in area, so the resort is just open to whoever wants to drive through, most likely because you do come through the driving range for the golf club that's next door, and then they also have a really nice chipping and putting area here as well. This is the main building, so right when you walk through those doors, you're in the lobby, and then off to the right, there's the activities center and the owner's lounge. Through the lobby, you're going to go back to that main pool area, and then to the left of the lobby, there's that game room. I really love the feel of this main building. It does feel very colonial New Jersey and like you are on a golf course. Right across from that main building are these beautiful fire pits. There's a ton of seating over here. They have 2 fire pits. They even have a tiny little table for children, which was super adorable. Right next to the main building, there's a super nice park area, which is great for anyone with kids. If you look on this map of the resort, there are 6 buildings. They go in alphabetical order, which is really nice. You know which building you're at. So it's Amelia, Breakers, Congressional, Desert Springs, Eagle, and Forest Highlands. And if you can tell me what all of those building names have in common, please leave it in the comments because my mom and I could not figure it out. As I mentioned before, we were in the Desert Springs building, which is basically directly across from both the main pool area and the indoor pool building. Right next to our building on the right were the shuffleboard courts. And then next to our building on the left were the bocce ball courts. And then in between the Eagle building and Forest Highlands, there was this area called the Eagle's Nest, which was actually really neat. This was the biggest of the barbecue areas that we had seen. There's the horseshoe area and then the fire pit, and then they do have a little picnic area and those grills over there. There are grilling areas between almost every building, but none of them had quite this much space or seating. So if you do feel like you're going to be grilling a lot and need a lot of tables, maybe requesting either the Eagle or the Forest Highland building would be better for you, as this is right in between them. And then the smoking areas are in these little gazebos. It actually was really nice because I feel like for smokers, it's a little bit more private. And then also for everyone around, the smoke really did not come through those gazebos. So I feel like it's just a really good way to have some privacy and also have the smoke a little bit more contained. The Forest Highlands building is the last one on the property, so they do have quite a big parking lot right off of that building. And then that parking lot leads you back to that building that the indoor pool and the fitness center are in. So this is basically the back of that building. If you walk in here, you can walk straight through to the adult pool. And then in this area, they did have a basketball court set up. Our overall impression of the resort is that we loved it. Honestly, though, I haven't been to a Marriott Vacation Club property that I haven't liked because it's just so nice to have those separate rooms. It's so nice to have a kitchen area and a dining room and a living room, especially when you have kids and you need that separation within a hotel room. The property as a whole is on the smaller side. However, it has all of the basic things that most of the Marriott Vacation Club properties have. So really, you're not missing anything by having it be a smaller property. You're just not having the extra items that you'd have at some properties. For me, those extra items include additional activities, like the activities schedule maybe just wasn't quite as packed with things to do. There's certain properties that have extensive walking trails just because they're so massive, and this really doesn't have that. So there are some drawbacks to having a smaller property, but as far as Marriott properties go, this one is still great. I will say getting here might be an issue. If you either live in a town with a smaller airport, there's probably not going to be a direct flight to Atlantic City. There wasn't for us, and we're coming from Minneapolis. So both Newark and Philadelphia are hour-plus drives to get here. And if you do like properties that are in like resort areas, this is not that. This is very much in residential, like New Jersey farmland. So if you don't mind that, then you won't mind this. It doesn't feel like you're in farmland, like you're right next to a nice golf course, but it's definitely not a resort town. We did love driving to all of the cute little towns along the Jersey Shore, so that was definitely a plus. Overall, I would recommend this to someone who doesn't mind a little bit of driving to either get to towns or to get to the resort itself. And then I would honestly go back. I really liked the property and I liked the area a lot, so I would definitely recommend this resort. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I do have another video coming out about everywhere we ate and also all of the things we did on the Jersey Shore. So thank you so much for watching and stay tuned.